Hi, everyone. Welcome to our uCode UBTECH webinar for the month of August. We're excited to have you here. We're going to give everybody just a minute or two to get in here. So go ahead, leave us a message, where you're from, how you're feeling, something about today. Tell us how you are. We're going to give everybody just a minute or two to join in. And do know that we have the Q&A is up. So if you have any questions during the webinar, you can add those in, and you can always chat us as well. Hi, Lisa from Birmingham, Michigan. I did not know there was a Birmingham, Michigan. Learning new today. All right. Fantastic. Alan Kirby, how are you doing? It's so nice to see somebody's name that I recognize. Oh, Cheryl's also in Michigan. Cheryl from Jackson. Hi, Cheryl. All right, North Carolina. Very fun. I will be there next weekend. I'm very excited.
Okay.
Okay, we are going to get started. We've got just about everybody in, so feel free, say hello. We got lots of people from Michigan. There's another Yvonne from Michigan. Hello, Yvonne. Go ahead and tell us where you're from or what you're doing or how you're feeling today. As I said, go ahead and put in any questions, comments, anything you have in the chat or in the Q&A as we're going. I will be monitoring that as Rusty does all of his magic. So to get started, my name is Kristina Davis. I'm an instructional design manager here at UBTECH Education. You can see my email on the screen. Feel free to reach out at any point if you need anything. Rusty, I'll let you introduce yourself.
And hello, everyone. My name's Rusty Nye. I am the Senior Professional Services Manager. You guys can see my email on the screen as well, and that is my LinkedIn profile picture. So I suggest you guys also connect with me on LinkedIn.
Perfect. I want to jump in real quick before we go to the next screen. We've got lots of chats here. So Kelly from Kansas City won an advanced kit and was given one. So she won conference, then was given one and wants to find out how to use it. So Kelly, you are in luck. The advanced kit works with uCode. But if you don't find what you need from this webinar today, please reach out to one of us, email us, or go to our website. We have a lot of stuff for the advanced kit, just not what we're going to cover today. So hello, everyone else that has joined in. All right, so if you're new to us, we'll tell you a little bit about UBTECH and a little bit about UBTECH Education. So UBTECH is our parent company, founded in 2012, and they focus, the robotics side of this focuses on global AI, humanoid robotic technology. We've got humanoid robots like Yanshi there that goes in schools. We've got Adibot, which is for COVID and the situation we're in now. We've got Cruiser on the left, who you could see in airports, you could see in malls, just all over the place. So robots helping people solve problems is really the big focus there. And then we are a division of UBTECH, so UBTECH Education based out in North America. And we focus on STEM education, robotics, and coding, along with AI for students, because we want to prepare them for life outside of the classroom. So you can see some of our robots there that go with some of our kits. We've got curriculum units, we've got coding, we've got a lot of builds that are not used in the curriculum. So a lot of extensions and things you can do outside of that. And today, our focus is all about uCode, which is our free web-based programming platform. And Rusty is going to demo and show you all sorts of things with that in just a moment. To get you started, if you would like to, if you're able to follow along with us doing some of the uCode stuff today, this is the uCode website you'll want to go to. So idena.ubtrobot.com. If you want to open that in another browser, Chrome works the best. If you need to use something else, that's totally fine. Or if you just want to watch today, you can always go back and watch our recording and follow along with Rusty at a later time. And Kelly, like I was saying earlier, there's a picture of the advanced kit. So all of the builds for the advanced kit are accessed, and the 3D instructions are in uCode. So this is a website you're going to want to save and bookmark for later. You can use all the, yes, we can go ahead and put the website in the chat. Absolutely. I will do that to you in just a moment. So yes, Kelly, you'll be able to use this as well with your advanced kit. And it's like, it's a free web-based program that you can use also without any kits. So those that are on that do not have kits, you can also use it for that. I'm going to just give you a quick overview of all the things Rusty is going to cover in person. So if you can get on the website. Thank you for those people that posted. Thank you, Rusty. For those that posted, go ahead and get on there and you can check out these environments. Rusty will walk you through them as well. So stage mode is where all of the fun happens outside of robots, right? So where you can create and interact, you can do games, you can do AI, you can do all sorts of stuff. We have a lot of extensions, so you could connect to microbit and our Explore kit, our advanced kit. So we also have an upload mode, which connects with Arduino IDE. So you can do syntax-based coding, you can do block-based coding. That's where you can connect, excuse me, with the robots as well. And then we have virtual environments. So we have virtual robotics. We have some different environments, mazes and robotic arm and all sorts of different goals and projects that you can do with that. Rusty will show you all of those. He's also going to talk to you about AI integration. And then outside of all of this, we do have some resources. We've got a getting started guide. We've got a block guide. So if you want to know what all the blocks do and what they look like, we've got an intro to uCode video. We also have some connection type things. So how does Arduino connect with uCode? How do you connect your advanced kit to uCode? We've got all those resources, as well as, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, it's like 5 to 7 different activities that you can grab for free, download. It's like a 1 or 2 page PDF. They're written for students to use and or teachers to use. And so you can go to our website, ubtecheducation.com. At the top menu bar, you can go to resources and programs and then go to resources and activities to get there, or you can use the website here that we can also put in the chat. So feel free after today, if you watch the recording or just think about it later on, go on and grab those activities because they're free to use. Anyone can use them. They're really great, super easy. All right, that was a lot. I went really fast because Rusty has so much stuff to show you, you guys. It's going to be a packed webinar today. So if you have not yet, go in the chat, grab the link for uCode, get that up on another window if you want to go ahead and follow along with Rusty. And I am going to stop sharing so that he can have access. He's going to get his screen up here. As I said before, if you have any questions, anything you want to know more about, or you want Rusty to point out, go ahead and just throw them in the Q&A or in the chat. I'll be monitoring that as Rusty shows you how to use uCode. So enjoy.
Great. Excellent. Thanks, Kristina, for that intro. So first, let me do a check. You guys can all see my screen, I'm hoping. If not, yell at me in the chat or whatnot. So just as Kristina mentioned, I'm going to move you through 4 main areas of uCode and how to utilize uCode. There is a lot to do with our online coding-based platform. It's really fun. I'm really excited about it, as you guys probably can tell. So I'm going to lead you guys through some different interactions, how we can get started, how we can utilize and start coding and have fun with it. And first, this is where you guys should see. For the first area, when you first open up the platform, is our resource page. So this is where you will be able to access a lot of your different resources. But we're going to start from scratch because we're going to kind of, enter into the stage mode. So when you first enter and pull up uCode, you'll see we have just basically a blank area here. We have our block drawers on the left side of the screen, motion, look, sound, events. For those CS teachers on here, this might all seem familiar to you guys because this is intended to be modeled off of Scratch. It's supposed to be kind of an easy place to start. These are all of your drawers. You'll see that are color-coded to the specific blocks you have here. So just like other block-based coding platforms, you can drag your blocks from the drawers on the left into the coding space in the center and construct your different sequences from top to bottom. If we keep moving down this block drawer column here, you'll see we have a plus symbol, which will also add in all of our different extensions. And something I will note, I might have to turn on my camera in a minute because I want to save all of the bandwidth so I can see you guys all, I can show you guys all of uCode in real time. Here you'll see we have a bunch of different extensions connecting with AI, connecting even with microbit. We also have the ability to connect with our webcam, which I'll show you in a bit. And we also have our uKit Explorer drawer, which we will definitely move in and touch on. To kind of show you a little bit more around stage mode, we do have the ability to alter our different costumes, which are our different sprites. This is Yuko, who is our kind of our premier character here. You see, I can kind of change him. He changes into the in the stage window. We also have the ability to record as well as alter all different sounds. I can record, I can upload sounds. There's some fun ones here we can play with. And we can also change backgrounds or choose different sprites. For this example, let's go ahead and add a different sprite in here. You'll see we have Alpha Mini, who's one of my favorite robots that we work with. We even have some of our different robots from the UKIT, and I'll go ahead and add in the fan robot here, which you guys will see in a moment, which I actually have a version of it just right in front of me. In addition, we can also change the background, have fun with this. Let's go ahead and add in, we have some really fun new ones that we just added in, like these different universes, which are fun to work with. So that's kind of your tour around the stage mode, but where do you start? So we definitely are not trying to just create something and not know where to start. So if I can navigate you guys back to, and if you guys are following along, feel free to kind of do this as I'm doing it as well. If we want to navigate back to that resource center, we can highlight over this open book icon here, which it will highlight and say resource center. And that takes you back to that pop-up screen of which you're able to access all of our building instructions, our getting started beginner's course, which is fun. I won't show you guys too much of this, but feel free to take this course. It's a pretty quick course, outside of this webinar. But we also have the ability to access different sample codes. And this is where we'll kind of hang out for the time being here. If you'll see, I can add this different uCode says hi example, and you'll see we built this very quick. It's just 4 different blocks, utilizing a quick sequence where when I click the green flag, it's going to start the sequence. Yuko is going to say hi for 2 seconds. Then he's going to ask me a question. What's my name? Then we basically joined the say block by inserting an operator and then a sensing block where I'm going to input an answer, and then Yuko is going to respond with nice to meet you. So if he says, hi, I'm Yuko, I can say, Rusty, that's my name. And then he kind of put together that sequence. So quick example of how you guys can get started. We have quite a few different example codes that you guys can work with. Again, if you guys are really familiar with Scratch, I wouldn't be shocked if I have some Scratch experts on this call. You guys will feel very comfortable moving into this space. But you might be asking, how do we make this more applicable to UBTECH, to our UKITs in general? This is where we start getting really fun. So this is where I'm going to kind of take a left turn and show you guys some really fun areas that you can interact within uCode. And don't worry, we're going to go back to the stage mode in the time being. But first, if you guys want to follow along, go ahead and navigate back to that resource center. And here we're going to actually click on our building instructions. This is where we're going to move into our simulated environments. Currently, we have 38 different robotic builds geared towards the UKIT Advanced. So all of these are compatible with our advanced UKIT, which are all pretty simple to build. Well, I guess they range from simple to very complex. Our transformer robot is closer to 200 steps and takes students around 3 hours to complete. But I'm going to show you one that I built not that long ago, the oscillating fan. If I go ahead and click on that icon, it's going to take me into a 3D building environment. Again, this may take a second to load, being that I have my camera on as well. And this is probably where I will also stop sharing my camera. So yeah, I turned off my camera, so if you guys miss me, you guys, feel free, you can chat, and I'll send you a picture of me or point it to my LinkedIn. Probably a bad joke there. But if you guys see, moving into our 3D space. This is similar if you're familiar with our UKIT app, but it is a CAD-like drawing where we can move in and out of this 3D space. And it guides students step by step how to assemble your robots. You do have a full parts list as well. And then when you move toward the end, you'll see we have a really fun environment. Again, if you guys have worked with the UKIDs previously, you know students love this space. You'll see this build is around 72 steps. With that being said, it is going to take students about 40 minutes or so to complete. Once you move to the end, that's where you are going to start coding. It will move you back into the stage environment. There are two different ways that you can program within uCode to this robot. One is stage and one is upload mode, which I'll show you guys all in a second. But first, you guys might say, hey, I'm not too comfortable coding. Where do I start? So I'm going to navigate everyone back to that resource center. Going back to sample codes, we did not leave anyone hanging here. We have sample codes for all of our 38 different models. So let's go ahead and find that infrared fan. And you'll see I have a really nice code here that's really easy to work with. I'm going to actually replace this block with because I personally like to hit that green button. So if we want to read this code, I can read it for you real quickly, quickly. When I hit that green flag, it's going to start this sequence that's contained within a forever loop. So it's going to keep on repeating over and over. If this IR sensor that's connected is going to detect a distance or an object, in front of it that's less than 12 centimeters, then it's going to repeat this sequence of changing the IR sensor, stopping the servo motor that is set at, and I need to change some of these. Whoops. And it's also going to stop the motor as well. However, if it does not read an object that is less than 12 centimeters away, it's going to turn off the LED and it's going to perform this sequence of moving the servo motor and also rotating the DC motor. So before I connect, I want to show you guys how, or first I should say, let's go ahead and connect our board. And this, I'm actually going to turn my camera back on. So you guys can see I do have a complete model here. So you'll see we have all different components. The reason I like to utilize this particular build is because it utilizes a lot of different components. We have an IR sensor, we have an LED as well. We have a DC motor, and we also have a servo motor. So we have a lot of different components all connected here. So the way that we connect is we can go ahead and select the product we're going to connect, which is our UKIT Explore board, and we simply connect. With that being said, there are two methods of connection. You can connect via USB, which I have here, it's already connected, or I can also utilize a Bluetooth module. When you connect your Bluetooth module, it looks something like this. I have a little board handy, and this is kind of a snap-on device as well, this little module, which is fun to work with as well. So let's go ahead and connect. And just like that, I'm connected. I'm going to have to change a few of my components here because I did not connect these. I did not follow the directions as intended. I actually utilized the LED label number 2, and I used the servo connected or entitled servo 3. So I needed to switch those out. Pretty easy here. Did I hit all these? It looks like I did. And I can go ahead and run my code. And you'll see, now I have a rotating servo, or fan, I should say. And remember, it's going to stop all the components when it's detecting an object, which is my finger in this case, less than 12 centimeters away. What do you guys think? Is that pretty fun? Great. So I'm going to show you an expanded way to also interact with these different robots. And if you guys are an upper level CS teacher, you guys are probably going to like this quite a bit. Because if I navigate and go towards upload mode, I will note here, in order to access upload mode, you do have to have a board connected. So if you guys are just kind of joining for the first time, unfortunately, you more than likely won't be able to access this screen because this will ask you to connect to the hardware. But if you'll see here, I still have that same code populated, but it looks a little bit different. You'll see I've lost all of those different staging blocks. So all of the blocks that interact with uCode no longer appear. However, I have the replacement to that window with a direct printing of a C++ code, which is just a lot of fun if you guys can see this. So I can also dual program in that when I directly pull over different blocks, it's going to auto populate my C++ code right here. So if you guys will see, I'm going to move this out of the setup, void setup. So now this is in the repeat loop. If you guys are familiar with Arduino coding in C++, this will all look very, familiar to you. So what's great though, and what I love to highlight is that I can just pull over random blocks and it's going to, auto populate with all of these different logic structures. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these, and I'm going to change a bit of this code. So let's see when it's actually, I'm just going to switch it. When it's more than 10, it's going to activate. So I'm going to reverse the code, if you will. So how, you might be asking, how can I start altering this code? So unfortunately, we don't have the ability to alter the C++ coding logic within uCode itself. But again, we did not leave you guys hanging because we have this nifty Arduino install button. So what I can do now is I can also export my code directly to the Arduino IDE, which let me open that up so I can show you guys what that looks like. And maybe while this is opening, I'm curious, are you guys, is anyone here proficient with utilizing Arduino? Do you guys utilize this with your students?
While they're answering, Rusty, I have some questions for you.
Awesome, okay.
Okay, so we did have a question about, can you do this stuff virtually? So could you just reiterate again what parts can be done without a robot and which parts have to be done with the robot?
So all parts where I'm connecting directly to the board itself, of course, you will need the board itself. So utilizing the upload mode, so dual programming does assume, since we are directly connecting to hardware, so we're externally uploading code. So this, you do need to have hardware connected and utilized in order to access the upload mode.
Okay.
And I'll
go ahead.
And I'll show you guys in a second how you can, if you guys don't, if you're not bothering with any of the hardware, there's a lot still you guys can do as well. And I can show you that in a moment as kind of this next layer to this demo.
I'll save the next question for later, but you do have a mixed bag. Some people have not used Arduino, some are interested, and some have.
Cool. Well, if you guys can see, I just basically, by hitting this one button, you will have to install Arduino separately. If you don't have it installed, you will be prompted to do so by activating this different Arduino icon. If you're unfamiliar with Arduino and how to access it or how to interact with it, this is a great place to start because you basically have a code that you can start accessing, utilizing right now. So you guys can continually change and modify the code utilizing blocks, which convert directly into C++, which you then can export into the Arduino IDE to be further edited if you'd like. And so I could connect this board. I guess I won't do that for time, but what I could do is then I could also upload this board to my robot, operated autonomously outside of uCode. So if you are kind of transitioning the students to look directly at text-based coding, C++, this is a great transition model because the students can still kind of participate in their comfort zone of utilizing drag and drop blocks, but then they can export and build their own code you know, easily throughout this kind of process here. Great. So excellent. So and no, currently we do not support Python. So we're just supporting with the UKIT Advanced with this board, C++, and Arduino. And Lisa, you're a little bit ahead of me because I am actually going to transition directly to the 3D virtual environments. And so for that, I'm also going to turn back off my camera to save some of the bandwidth here. But if you guys want to navigate with me as well, go ahead and hit that 3D button at the top right by your different icons. So again, you have stage, upload, and 3D mode. So this is where you can quickly jump into virtual robot environment. So if you'll see, the first robot that you'll see that is in our virtual environment is a fan robot. So we do have a simple code, a 3-block code populated within the space here. Again, we're not leaving anybody hanging. There's always going to be a code for all of our virtual robots that already appears here. They're very, very simple, but it does provide you a way to quickly get a robot moving, interacting with the robot in this virtual space. So if you'll see here, I have the code here. The environment's a little bit grayed out, and I can alter this code if I wanted by utilizing those stage mode blocks. But if I want to connect and run this code, I would go ahead and switch to the stage, which is hitting this orange button in the lower right-hand corner. And then you'll see now I can open up this environment. This does interact like a CAD environment. I do suggest if you're utilizing this space, trying to utilize or interact with it with a mouse, it does make it a lot easier to navigate because similar to utilizing CAD drawings, it does employ right-click functions. So I can basically spin around, move in and out with the right click as well. So it makes it a lot easier if you have a mouse. You do not need it necessarily, but it's helpful. So if I want to run this code, I can simply click that flag and start running that code. Whoops. Within all of our simulated environments, we do feature different goals. If you can see, I already checked off one of these goals. So as I kind of hit these different goals, they are going to turn green. And you see, this is a nice quick win for students because they are able to quickly, get that fan to rotate. So if I want to access our different virtual robots, I can also hit this Resource Center button, which will also pop up our virtual robots or also our Model Center. This, we kind of have two pathways too. So you can also navigate to our virtual robots through this button, or you can go back to that Resource Center button that I highlighted earlier. Here you can access by hitting your different models and then selecting virtual robots. So currently we have 6 different environments for students to navigate. However, one of them, our Smart Factory, has 6 different challenges within that environment as well. And this is actually my favorite one to interact with. And I'll highlight this one in a moment. But we do have a robotic arm environment. We have a really fancy maze control, which you can interact with a trolley navigating through the different environment. We have a greenhouse, a sonar radar, our Smart Factory, and our fan, which I highlighted. So I really like this one, so I'm going to highlight this Smart Factory. So you'll see, again, if I start looking at my code, this does seem like a pretty elaborate code. However, it's a basic code. This allows the students to interact with the robot, getting it some motion, moving it around this virtual environment very quickly. However, it doesn't employ a lot of the different sensors that have that are within this particular build. And I'll highlight what I mean in a moment. If you'll see, this is where I highlighted or I mentioned we have 6 different challenges for all of these for this particular robot. So there's different challenges for this one virtual environment. And again, if I kind of look around, I'll give you guys a quick tour of this environment. Isn't this cool? This particular robot is really fun because it does utilize quite a bit of the different UKIT components. And I can highlight which components it actually uses here. By hitting this gear icon, I can show the different key parts. And this is how I know what I'm programming and building my code around. I have a color sensor, I have an ultrasonic sensor. I have 2 different servo motors for the arms, different DC motors for the wheels, a line control sensor or a line following sensor, and also an LED. So with all of that being said, you guys probably want to see this moving, huh? So if I go ahead and hit that green flag, you'll see now I'm able to function, interact with this robot, and start driving it around. So the first goal that I have, if I want to look at my different goals here, is to successfully move one of the cubes to the target point. So we can see that my target point is here, this little check mark. And I'm not so coordinated myself, so this is not great, but I've seen students do this very easily. And to not embarrass myself too much, I won't actually complete this challenge, but I'll move on and show you guys how we can also incorporate some of the different sensors, which I think are a lot of fun here. So if I go back to that level mode, my favorite one that I like to show here is how we can utilize this color sensor to interact with this robot. So if you'll see here, if I'm utilizing this, as mentioned, we do have a color sensor incorporated within this particular this model. And one of the goals we have here is to successfully navigate the robot to the target area of the matching color. So what we mean by that is here is the one of the colors here, in the target area would be the last, or I guess you could pick whichever one you wanted. So the target one here, oh, it would be white, of course, because that is matching the first color that we would see here. So if I wanted to alter this block, I could actually alter this code to say, I can pull out this W. So this is the W that's interacting, having my trolley or my vehicle moving forward. And what I could do here is I could find that the color sensor block. And I could say, whoops, I picked the wrong one there. So when that color sensor detects white, let's go ahead and increase the speed. So we'll definitely see the difference. Let's say 125, just picking arbitrary numbers here. And then, whoops. And so here what I can do is, and if I read this code, what's actually going to happen is now I'm able to navigate this code to this white space, but when it detects that white space, it should increase the speed and move forward. So let's test if my logic is correct here. So if you'll see, whoops. And you can see it's functioning. So my logic is not actually correct. I'd have to fix that to see, how I actually change that. But you guys can see how I can start interacting, start utilizing these different blocks, utilizing these different sensors in this virtual space that then I could turn into navigating into the real world in terms of the physical world as well. Great. So any questions you guys have about the 3D build or 3D environment, if you will?
Okay. So many questions.
Awesome. But let's answer them before I move on, because
okay. So I believe, Lisa, I hope we showed what you wanted, but if not, please let us know. Lisa was asking for step-by-step programming of the 3D virtual robots, not all the blocks, just the general steps of the sequence.
Okay, we have we have sample codes for all of these, and as we kind of are chatting here, I can show you guys a little bit more. So if you click on all of these different icons, you'll see when you first appear, everything has a sample code for you to work from. So this is our trolley model, if you'll see, this code does look very complex, but it's using probably a fraction of what this robot can actually do. And it's not going to necessarily quickly solve these different goals, which are set for with the robot. So we have a really nice starting place for students to interact with the different models. You'll see this maze when I kind of zoom out is really big. However, the students are still, encouraged to, update and utilize and program and change this code in order to solve these tasks and, to continually iterate upon them.
Perfect. I know you've done this a couple different ways, but could you take a moment to show all the different ways you can get to the virtual robots and the difference between the virtual robots and the 3D models?
Absolutely. So there are, within the 3D environment, there are two different ways to access. One is by finding this resource button, resource center button, lower left-hand corner, this little purple button will open up to the model center as well as the virtual robot. So model center would be your 3D build instructions. However, the other way that's populated in all different environments within uCode is to navigate to this open book icon, which is your resource center and kind of like your main landing space for all of your interactions and all of your all of your instructions, sample codes, etc. Excuse me. Within this, you want to click that UKIT Advanced tile there, which will then build you or take you into your model center, which again, these are your 3D build instructions, which are 38 for all of the different robots. Or you can click on virtual robots, which currently we have 6 different environments of which the students can navigate and interact with.
So just to reiterate, the virtual robots can all be done on uCode. You don't need a kit. The model center are instructions meant to be used with the advanced kit so that students can follow along and build the physical robot.
Exactly.
Someone is familiar with our products outside of education, so they wanted to know if the robots that you can buy in like Target and on Amazon can be used with uCode.
So unfortunately they cannot. So our GMU line of robots utilize and interact with a mobile application called the GMU app. And they are currently not able to interact within uCode. So our main hardware product that we are utilizing uCode for is the UKIT Advanced, which is the UKIT Explore microcontroller. And I know that might be confusing for some, is that our UKIT Advanced is the name of our kit. However, the actual computer, the microcontroller that we program is called UKIT Explore, which you guys can see here.
And I think it's worth mentioning here, we have 3 educational kits. So we have the UKIT Beginner, UKIT Intermediate, UKIT Advanced. And so our Advanced right now is the only one that goes with uCode. The other 2 have an app, the UKIT EDU app. So those work on like mobile devices, where this is more meant to be on a computer. You can probably do it with a larger tablet. It does work on Chromebooks, which is one of the questions, Rusty. What's required for them to use it with Chromebooks?
So you guys can see the specific compatibilities on our website. In terms of Chromebooks, I don't have that knowledge on the top of my head, but it works with the vast majority of Chromebooks. You will, when connecting to hardware with a Chromebook, you do have to add a specific extension, which we do have like directions for you guys on our website. But that's pretty much all you would need to utilize is, for a Chromebook, is the hardware as well as the Chrome extension, which again, you can find on our website.
Okay, I'll let you keep showing and I'll ask you more questions in a little bit.
Awesome, great. So now I'm going to kind of transition this talk, and I do have, just around, I guess, 10 minutes or so, which this is actually, I hope you guys are still with me, because now we're moving into my personal favorite part of uCode and how you can interact with it. And that it will navigate back to our stage environment for those that are following along. We are going to add an extension, the AI extension. So for those that know me, you guys know I'm an AI guy. I love interacting with AI. I love playing with AI. I love talking about AI. And here we can utilize and code with AI in real time, which is just a lot of fun. So by adding this particular extension, you guys will see I have a bunch of pre-populated AI machine learning model data sets, which we can access in real time. So I'll give you an example of what I mean by that in a moment, but we can engage with object recognition, pose recognition, video drawing, drawing recognition, body segmentation as well. These are all TensorFlow interacted data sets of which we're able to interact with and plug in by having pre-built blocks just here hanging out, ready for you guys to utilize. So there is a really fun example that I like to build, which I can build for you guys really quickly to show you how we can start plugging in with one of these data sets. So first, I'm going to just put some blocks in here for me to use in a moment. Cool. So then I'm going to go to this AI drawer, and we are going to play with drawing recognition. So again, we have object recognition, we have video drawing, but one of my favorites is this drawing recognition. So in order to load and interact with our different data sets, first we want to load which data set we're going to use. And this is going to be your first step here. So first, and let me duplicate that block. So first, I am going to load the drawing recognition data set here. So in order to draw, I also want to add a drawing board as well. So again, the first step here is creating this quick 3-block sequence here. Then I'm going to put in a forever loop and also an if-then statement. And then we're going to start saying what uCode is going to recognize. So if you guys are familiar with Quick Draw or Auto Draw from Google, this is kind of a similar interface in a similar way, but we're actually building it on our own. So look, we're going to plug in this block here. So we're going to do, and for this example, we have a bunch. So this is all within the data set as well. So these are all different images that we can start drawing. I'm not a very good artist as well, but I can start, collecting these and seeing or clicking some of these to see if I can try to recreate some. The ones I usually go to for demonstration purposes are in the nature drawer, being the mountain, star, and moon. I can usually, and rainbow. Those are usually ones that I can do pretty quickly. So if you'll see here, I'm loading this data set. And then it's going to open a drawing board, which is where I can draw on the trackpad. Then it's going to run this loop with this if-then statement that's going to say if uCode or if the machine learning model is going to recognize one of these different drawings as those different data sets that I clicked off, it's going to say the result of that, which uCode is going to say. So let's go ahead and see what we got here. So here it's opening up that drawing board. This I found utilizes better if we're using a trackpad. I'm going to try to do a rainbow first. Oh, and look at that. I just did an arc and already uCode is already recognizing it as a rainbow. So let's go ahead and do the same. I'm going to draw a mountain this time. And that was pretty quick. What were some of the other ones? There's like a tornado, right? I don't know if that looks like the drawing, does it? I'd have to go back and look at that drawing.
You're doing great.
Oh, hurricane. There you go. That was one I didn't know. So we can, thanks, Kristina.
You're welcome.
We can also see if we want to try to draw, some of these as well. But I think what's fun here is we're not able to add to this data set. It is a pre-built, predetermined data set here, but there are more than enough objects of which the students can utilize. So I think where this gets really fun and really complex, I'm showing you guys this very simple interaction here, but you guys can plug this in with your hardware. You can plug this into, any sort of animation, any sort of game you guys would want to utilize, but also recognize, utilize some of the hardware, which what I mean by that is if I wanted to plug this in with my fan, I could say when, uCode recognizes a hurricane, it's going to activate this fan model, etc. So there's a lot that you can really interact with it. And then the other part that I want to show you guys, and I hope you guys are as excited as I am here. So it doesn't really stop there. So we have all of these different blocks that you guys can interact with. However, we can also create our own machine learning data sets. So if you guys are familiar with Teachable Machine or machine learning for kids, they have similar interfaces here. However, where ours kind of steps it up is that we're also able to utilize this with our hardware, utilize this in this kind of real-time space. So I'll demonstrate this for you guys. I went and got 2 of my daughter's toys laying around the room. I did find a dinosaur. I'll go ahead and label these. And then also I found Olaf from Frozen. So, and you guys will see I'm going to turn on my camera, but I'm actually going to put up a white background because I don't want to confuse this image with something else around the screen. So you'll see I'm just holding a white piece of paper. I'm going to do this really quickly just for this example. Ideally, you would want to take a bunch of different images from all different, different angles. So it has a really nice, idea. But what we're doing here is we're building a data set. So you want to have a minimum of around 200 images here. The more images you have, the better, of course. Here's Olaf. Is that what you guys thought Olaf looked like? I'm going to try to match this data set or the previous one.
Olaf always makes me smile because he looks so happy all the time.
My daughter loves Olaf.
Very entertaining.
Yeah. So then I can go ahead and start training it. And what's happening here is it's basically utilizing these 2 small data sets to train this machine learning model. So what it's going to be able to do is distinguish a dinosaur from Olaf in real time. This might take a little bit of time. And yeah, of course, this is because I'm also on a Zoom call, which is eating up a lot of bandwidth. Because as you guys can guess, this is actually quite a bit of machine intelligence that's happening here. Even though it's a small data set, it is a bit of a processing power that's going to take some time.
Would you like some questions while we're waiting?
Sure.
All right. So Brad has had some students that have dipped their toes into Python or Java. How does C++ compare? Is it easier, harder, more or less useful in the future?
So it's comparable. Python and C++, I believe C++ came first. So I believe as the coding languages keep progressing, they get somewhat simpler. And I believe, a Python, in my understanding, is a little bit simpler, but it's still the same type of logic structures that are being presented. So it's not very dissimilar. C++ is a little bit older of a language that's utilized for different purposes. Python is utilized more, especially for different website functions or different practical uses. C++ I know does really kind of hang out in that prototyping space with Arduino. But in terms of logic structures and the way that sequences are developed, extremely similar. And as you guys can see, it is recognizing Olaf with about 100% accuracy as well. And you'll see it's probably because it's also blending into the background. Let's go ahead and show that dinosaur. Oh, and that, of course, it recognizes that dinosaur. You guys can see my spatial orientation. It's not the greatest. Where's my camera here? And you'll see I can switch in and out of that pretty easily. And then from there, what I can do is I can export that model, and that basically appears as its own. I didn't name the model, but you'll see it as its own model, model 1, which then I can incorporate this you'll see now I have this other window here. and it's going to start recognizing, of course I didn't input this sequence, but I can also build it in the same sequence here. Let's see, you guys want to recognize the dinosaur? And you'll see it guessed it even before, huh? How cool is that? Awesome. So that's that kind of ends my demo purposes. So I will actually turn back on my camera. I know you guys miss seeing me. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, concerns, let me know. We do have around 10 minutes or so. Wanted to save time to answer any sort of questions. If you guys want me to revisit anywhere within uCode, yeah, please let me know. Again, there's a lot you can do with this interface. It's really fun. It's really easy to get started. And there's really no limitations. You can do all sorts of interactions with hardware, with AI, with virtual robots, and text-based coding. So the possibilities are really endless, and that's not even a cliche when I say that. But yeah, I will be more than happy to answer any questions you guys have.
Before we switch back over to the PowerPoint, do you want to go back into extensions and show how you can enable those?
Yeah, absolutely. So define extensions, it's just this plus symbol at the bottom of the drawers. And then you'll see all the ones that are currently appearing in the drawers will be blue and appear as enabled. The ones that are not are disabled. So you can kind of navigate in and out of enabling versus disabling as well.
Yep, so just click where it says disabled and then it'll switch right over for you and it'll show right up at the bottom list of all of your block drawers.
And there's some fun ones that I we didn't highlight here. You do have the ability to interact with your webcam, video sensing. The music ones are a lot of fun, so you can actually record and play different music, text to speech, as well as different translation as well. And then if you guys have a bunch of microbits laying around the classroom, you can always plug in your different plug in your microbit, interact that with your hardware or on its own as well. Great.
Right. The other questions don't require uCode for anything to be shown. So you want to switch back over?
Absolutely.
Okay. Before we go to questions, I want to give you guys a chance to add in more questions if you have them. I've collected the ones we do have. I wanted to show you what the resource page looks like. Is that showing up for you, Rusty?
Yep, that looks great.
Perfect. So if you go to our website, ubtecheducation.com, if you want to do the whole website, you can. But otherwise, if you just go to resources and programs at the top, and then you can go to uCode resources and activities, it'll take you to this page. And so we've got a little bit about what is uCode. You can access uCode right there. And then we've got all those getting started resources I explained at the beginning of the webinar, and then all of the activities. And what I wanted to point out here is that while all of these include coding and programming and computer science, they're not all like artificial intelligence focused. So like this very first one is water cycle. So if you're teaching your kids about the water cycle, this one's going to walk them through how they can program an animation of the water cycle in stage mode. So you don't need robots there. And it's just a fun way for them to show that they know the water cycle, right? So we've got sample chatbot is the one that Rusty showed today with that uCode says hi tutorial. Then we've got chat with uCode, which allows students to build their own little chatbot as opposed to using the sample code. And then Rusty showed some of this stuff already, but we've got like the coding virtual robots, image segmentation and AI, model training, which he just did, and then driving a virtual robot that also uses that model training. So we've got a couple up here. There was a question about, do we have a bank from teachers of activities? And right now we don't, but we totally want that. So Rusty, while I switch over to the PowerPoint, do you want to talk about the Teacher Ambassador Program real quick?
Absolutely. So we are currently collecting applications for an ambassador program where we are, trying to find a group of teachers to help us create different content to interact with and basically get a lot of different feedback interactions with. So if that's something you're interested in pursuing, please visit our website. There is a tab for teachers ambassadors. The application is not too complicated, but put in your details, submit an application, and yeah, definitely, if this seems like something you would like to do, I strongly encourage you guys to apply.
All right, so a couple of questions that we did not answer yet is, will the board and Bluetooth module also connect to a Chromebook via Bluetooth?
So they will. So with the extension, the board will connect to Chromebooks via Bluetooth as well as with the USB. The only tricky part of utilizing Chromebooks, and if you're a CS teacher, you know this, is the Arduino IDE is a little tricky to work with, and you actually have to use the online web editor, which is not ideal in my opinion, and most CS teachers probably would agree with that. You do have to use an online version of the Arduino IDE, but otherwise it works the same as utilizing a Mac or a PC device.
All right, I'm going to reiterate this one. I already answered it in the chat, but just so everybody hears it. The question was asked, can you create your own robots in uCode? And you cannot do that. So we have those virtual models that are already built, and then we have the step-by-step instructions, which are 3D for the students to use to follow and build their physical robot. So those can't be tweaked. However, if you have our physical kits, anything can be built, anything can be created. Students can do their own thing, whatever they want to do. So do know that on our website or on uCode right now, you can't do your custom creations, but you can with the physical robots. And again, that is the advanced kit. I thought you would like this one, Rusty. Brad said this looks like EV3 on steroids.
Nice.
We also had some questions on what operating systems it works with. So I did put that link in there. That's on that page I just showed you guys. uCode Explore Connection is the link you want to go to then if you're trying to find out if it'll work on your devices. Let's see, I answered the teacher question one. We went over disabled and enabled, so that's good. Okay, Alan has asked, are there plans to add AI blocks for the intermediate and beginner sets?
Awesome question. And currently we're focusing on the AI blocks within uCode. It's something that we're not currently focusing on in terms of utilizing it for the app. So if you wanted to utilize the AI functions, I would point you back to uCode, because we are going to have the most up-to-date AI interactions within uCode and not currently within the app.
Yes, I will say that there are always the possibility of the other kits joining uCode at some point in time. So
exactly.
You might know this, Rusty. I don't know off the top of my head. Sorry, Lisa. Lisa would like to know what the cost of one advanced kit is.
So I believe on our website, actually, maybe we should just look on our website as well. I don't want to misquote anyone as well.
Yeah, you guys, you can add all of this stuff to your cart. Like uCode is free, but if you want to look at the robotic sets, you can add those to your cart on the site. You can get a quote. You can do all that kind of stuff as well. So there we go. Thank you, Brad. Brad found it first at 549.
There you go.
Nicely done. Thanks, Brad. All right. We don't want you to take off just yet. We have a little bit more information, but if you have questions, please keep those coming. We do want to share with you our next webinar, which is next month. Do note the time change. So if you've signed up for all of our webinars, we've been doing them at 12 o'clock Pacific time, but right now we're going to switch to later because school is starting. So we want to try to hit as many teachers as we can. So we will go 2 hours later next month. It's going to be on Wednesday, September 8th. We're going to talk about careers of the future. So we're really going to talk about what we do with UBTECH, with our curriculum, specific examples of what skills students will learn while they're going through the curriculum and with the robotic sets that can apply toward careers after they leave the classroom, right? And I'm sure you all know there's tons of stuff, right? So we're going to talk about careers, we're going to talk about STEM, we're going to talk about curriculum. If there are things you for sure want to know or questions you want answered, feel free to send them our way ahead of time so we can prep for those. We do have a Google form that's going out with the emails that have you ask questions. You can reach out to us, email, however you want, but do note time change. Ooh. And then we also want you to connect with us. So we've got our education email, which you can reach out to that one. If you go to the website, ubtecheducation.com, you'll get to us through the Connect form. You can do all sorts of stuff on there. And then we're all over social media. Find us anywhere. Rusty and I have our personal ones. If you want to get to us with LinkedIn or Twitter, you're welcome to do that. Gloria needs to take off. Bye, Gloria. Thanks for joining us. Brad wants to know how many students per kit is suggested. So the younger ones, so we didn't really talk about the kits here. The beginner kit starts at grades 3 and up. And then with the intermediate kit and the advanced kit, we focus those more on upper elementary into middle and high school, depending on what your focus is. Because with the Arduino board, we also have a circuitry curriculum that goes with the advanced kit. So that's a little higher up than middle school. So anywhere from 2 to 4, the younger kids, all the curriculums written for groups of 4 so that they can work together and really get those skills. With the older kids, you could easily do 2. If you had that many kits, you could partner them up. Kara wants to know if the webinars are recorded. Yes, everything's recorded. You'll get an email with the link to this, and it's also on our website. So you can absolutely go find all of those and watch us. We also have a webinar series from last year about AI. So if you're interested in that, you can watch all those recordings again. All right. Any other questions? Now is your chance. Rusty, do you have anything else you want to leave us with? Any wisdom?
No, I hope you guys had fun watching me kind of tinker and hang out in uCode. As you can see, this is something that I think we're really passionate about. It's something that we really love. And as an education tech company, we are very familiar with a lot of the different avenues that we can get kids coding. And this one we really see as a really amazing way that we can get kids having a lot of fun with coding very quickly. So at the very least, I recommend you guys, jump in, play with it a little bit, and have some fun with it, because this is something we see as a really fun, pivotal aspect in the world of student coding.
Absolutely. And I totally forgot to hit this question. We still got quite a few people, so I'll say it real quick. Someone asked the grade level or the ranges of students you would use for uCode. Who would you have use uCode?
So I think there's different grade ranges for different objectives that you're trying to achieve. In terms of utilizing, stage mode, you could even go down to, upper elementary for sure. But when you get into more of the advanced interactions, like utilizing upload mode and also the Arduino IDE, or also some of the more advanced aspects of the different extensions, it does kind of hit really well with middle school as well as upward to high school. So I know that's kind of a roundabout way of saying it is really great for a lot of different ages, all the way down, to upper elementary to high school as well.
That's totally how I addressed it. I just said, hey, if your kids are familiar with block coding, throw them in, they'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
It's super easy to learn. We have all those sample codes. We have those sample activities that you can use. So definitely you can get in there. It's an easy in. You don't have to know a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, we are just a couple minutes over. We totally appreciate you guys coming in and joining us today. You will get an email with the recording and a link to a survey. If you have a chance, please let us know what else you'd like to see, topics, comments, anything. We just want to hear from you. Thank you again for joining us, and we hope to see you next month.
Yeah, thanks everyone.